I want to walk you through a framework that is transformational. It has transformed the lives of many. It has transformed my life. And this is called the AAA Pathway to Relief. It is built on three pillars: awareness, action, and accountability. Awareness. The very first step is awareness, which is recognizing the mistakes that you have made. There's no shame or blame in this. We've all made mistakes. Recognizing the mistakes that you've made in managing your migraine attack, understanding what has kept you stuck. This is what encompasses the awareness pillar. It is about asking the question, am I dealing with just a headache, or is there a migraine attack? And FYI, migraine is not just a headache. You see, recovery starts at the root. Everything originates from the root. This reminds me of the story that Jesus shared about it's the parable of the sower in Matthew 13, right? Parable of the sower. And he tells this story about this farmer sowing seeds. He doesn't really say what seeds they are. He just says they were sowing seeds. So let's just say they were sowing wheat seed, for example. And he says that some of the seeds fell on the path. So could say it just fell on the pavement. Some fell on rocky grounds. Another one fell on thorny ground. And then another one fell on rich, good soil, right? That led to proper harvest express, right? Okay. That story, I thought about it a different way. And I said, okay, let's look at it this way. Imagine this with me. What if the seeds wasn't grain? It wasn't wheat grain. What if the seed, let's look at it as we're talking about the seed being toxins instead. So you have some of these toxins fell on the path, and this didn't take take root, because in the story of Jesus it says birds came and then ate them, and in this case the toxins seeds, they fell on your body, shook them off, your immune system went up, said not on my watch, and got rid of them. The fleeting stress that you have, the restless night that you had, they were just here and there and gone. Your body was able to get rid of it. Your immune system destroyed those toxins immediately. It didn't take root. Okay? So that's the first. Then the second one was that they fell on rocky ground, right? So these toxins, the seeds, they fell on rocky ground. They fled. It got flare up. But the flare up without roots did not really, it didn't take roots. It just withered. Your flare up just went away. Small moment, one day where you skipped meal. So maybe you did not have lunch like you normally do. Maybe you suddenly felt a tension. That pain was there. Yes, it was there, but it was very temporal. It went. Your body was able to, you know, get rid of it. It could take root. Then the third surface was on the toxins fell on thorny ground. Okay, so in Jesus' story, the thorny ground, the thorns choke it. Okay, so these toxins now that falls on the thorny body, the toxins are, let's say, tangled with the stressors of your life, choking your body defense system, worry, overwork, all those stressors, the toxins got tangled with them and they choked your body defense system and your body couldn't fight it. That unforgiveness, you didn't forgive that manager, you didn't forgive that co-worker that grassed you up, you didn't forgive what your mother said to you 10 years ago. Unforgiveness is still there. You're worrying, you're being anxious, you're overworking, you're not eating. The soil's strength just chokes your body's defense system. Then you have these toxins now falling on the final ground, which is, with Jesus' story, it was a nourishing goodness, good ground, he calls it. But this time, these toxins falls on a toxic rich soil. Soil is unguarded, soil is not tamed, soil is neglected, soil is left to wear and tear. Here, the toxins multiply. One small trigger becomes a full-blown storm. 30, 60, 100-fold. More pain, more loss. You have all those unforgiveness, eating the processed food. Your body is so rich in all those inflammatory, all those meals that are not good for you, all the habits that are not good for your body. Your body is so rich in them that when a toxin lands on there, just flourishes nicely. A small thing now becomes a huge thing. Huge. The enemy comes to steal, kill, and destroy. John 10:10 tells us this. Jesus came that you might have life and have it more abundantly. He didn't come for you to be having migraine. He didn't come for you to be having chronic pain all the time. That's why in Luke 10, he says he's giving you authority. You've got authority to capture all these things. Here is the lesson. The soil matters. Your body is soil. Your mind is soil. Your spirit is soil. If it is left toxic, every seed of stress, every thorn of worry, every root of bitterness, unforgiveness can multiply into a migraine and chronic suffering. In Christ, the soil can be restored. What the enemy meant for harm, God can redeem. God can redeem for good and for his glory. You can guard your soil, strengthen it with truth, nourish it with rest, and cultivate peace. In God's kingdom, the harvest is not meant to be pain. Absolutely not his plan. No, it's meant to be purpose. He's got good plans for you, plans to give you hope and a future. That is what his plan is for you. Becoming aware of what soil your body is at is key. Is your soil toxic rich, or is it fortified that your immune system, they are really strong and on top of it, that when any toxins come, it's got no chance. It just eats it all up. Become aware of what your body is. The next one is action. This is where you take what you've learned and you start to implement the strategies, whether it is going to get an accurate diagnosis, start to explore the right type of treatment that will be effective for you, or it could look like you making lifestyle adjustment. For some, actions has meant listening to podcasts like this, watching videos like this. For others, it looks like attending workshops, webinars, and for many, it is seeking out professionals for the very first time. Remember, actions doesn't have to be. I encourage my clients to make not even baby steps, just total steps. Then you move on to baby steps. It looks like booking that appointment to see someone at your GP surgery. Just pray that you get an appointment. I'm just saying. Actions could look like you starting a headache diary, journaling your triggers and your patterns, at least for 12 weeks, because the information in there will be rich. And that will really help the healthcare professional or the team that you put in place. Actions could look like you adjusting your bedtime routine, adjusting your sleep hygiene. Actions could look like really tiny actions. Accountability. I said that I was going to go into a little bit more details on accountability. And yes, I will. Now, when people hear accountability, tell me what comes to your mind when you hear accountability. For many, when they hear accountability, they hearing someone holding them accountable, someone holding them to account. The only real accountability is self-accountability. One of the books that I read is called The 12-Week Year. And the author, I love the way he puts this. He says something in the line of, you can hold a baby, you can hold a bag of groceries, but you cannot hold someone. And he's so right. You cannot hold someone accountable. Another way that people might look at accountability is that, okay, if I don't do this, if I'm not held accountable for this, then there will be consequences. Now, accountability is not consequences. Accountability is ownership. It's about the freedom to choose. In life, there is no true have-tos. Even in very difficult circumstances, you still have the power to choose your response. When you go through life, when you start to approach life with the choose to mindset instead of the have to mindset, everything changes. You give your best, you do your best, you stamped. And most importantly, you own both your actions and your results. And that's why in the accountability phase, in the accountability pillar, I teach what I call the PRAAR framework. The PRA framework for accountability is you pray, you reflect, you analyze the information that you have, you make adjustments if necessary, and you repeat the same cycle. That simple cycle helps you to stay consistent and in control of your journey. How can you implement this AAA pathway in your life? Become aware what type of soil is your body in? What type of body do you have? Is it toxic rich or is it immune defense rich? What type of body is it that you have? Become aware of that. Action and self-accountability. Accountability. This looks like, for example, an event planner was stuck in self-diagnosis of migraine. And of course, the treatment that they took was an ineffective treatment. But once she applied the awareness, actions, and the accountability into her life, her migraine reduced a lot. She actually reduced her migraine attack by 60% and rebuilt her career with confidence. Because can you imagine being an event planner and in your very busy season, you're off work because you have a migraine attack? Imagine what that can do to your bank balance, your confidence, your career, your reputation. Just imagine. Another person that you can think of is this particular lady that lived with lupus. This graphic designer with lupus discovered that her autoimmune condition was amplifying migraine. By applying the framework, going through the steps, she was able to cut her attacks by half and found a new energy for her work and her relationships. And I'll tell you my own story in which I've grown up. I grew up with having migraine. I didn't know that they were migraine. I was calling them brain headaches. I was a child in Nigeria full of sunshine all the time. Sun, sun, sun. Kept wondering, why do I hate the sun so much? But it's because I noticed that when it was sunny, I just couldn't go out. I was always at home with bad brain headaches. I'll be throwing and nobody knows what to do. And because I have a chronic genetic blood disorder already, so you might think that, okay, it is linked to that. So, but the thing is, I know the difference between a headache and these brain headaches. They were just two different things. I would just want to be in the dark. The nighttime was my favorite time, not the daytime. Moving to the UK, I thought, oh yeah, freedom. You know, moving to the UK, you think everything, your life would be so fantastic and different. But we came around summertime. It wasn't too sunny, so I didn't really have any migraine attack. But then, of course, it came back. Might be crisis pain. So for years and years, I'll have these brain headaches. For a few years, I didn't have them. And I thought, oh, that's fabulous. Well, I didn't have them that severely until one time when I was at a meeting preparing for the Olympics, because I was going to be one of the analysts at the Olympics. And at this meeting, I just couldn't concentrate. I was having bad headache. It was just, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't see. I couldn't open my eyes. I was always like this. And the person talking, I thought they were just crushing my head. And I just said, I have to go. I was going through my mind, what did I do this morning? I had traveled into London from where I used to live. I was thinking, what did I do? I did this, I did that. It's the same thing I did yesterday. Why am I like this? So with each step that I took, I thought I was going to die. My head was banging, throbbing. I was just going like that, like that. I said, I just need to get to the underground and get home. Please let me get home. And I kept going. As I got to the foyer, I just collapsed. Thank God for the security man that was there. I could hear him say, are you okay? Are you okay? And I said, please, can you get me the ambulance? And I don't remember anything else that happened until I was in the hospital bed. I was admitted. And still there, nobody knew why that happened. I went through, what did I do wrong? Everything was right. But then I remembered I washed my hair. I washed my hair that morning and came into London. I was fine when I got to London. When I got in the office and I was sitting down there listening to them, that's when the attack happened. And I noticed myself feeling cold. I looked up and there was aircon right above my head. And that was there. And I was like, but why will that, why, it can't be, it cannot be the reason why they're having that. Anyway, years later, 2 weeks, my exam to become a pharmacist, I fell ill and found myself in hospital. Imagine how crushed I was. I couldn't believe it. I had studied, I was ready, and here is me in hospital, straight into the ICU even for that matter. Oh my word. The day that my colleagues were taking the exam, I can remember that day. lying there all by myself, in the room by myself. I was crushed. And I was having the worst headache ever in life. That wasn't the reason I got into hospital. It was a sickle cell crisis. So I had recovered from the ICU and then now moved into the ward, and I was by myself in the private ward because of complication. And anyway, let's not go in there. So cell crisis, you are on a lot of strong pain medication. And that is what I was on, pain medication. I started to develop bad headache. And they'll say, oh, Gospel, take more of your medication. Or we'll give you they'll give me paracetamol. The headache could be worse, 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 worse. I said, I'm having headache. I can't. I don't want to take any. But Gospel, your pain, this and this. I did all the tests to find out why I was having, because it's one of the complications with sickle cell crisis that you can have a stroke. So they were thinking maybe I was having strokes-like symptoms. I don't know. There was a blood clot or something like that. I did all the tests. Nothing. My head was fine. Physically, nothing. Nobody knew why I was having headache. I got discharged because I'm one of those people that I'm like, okay, I couldn't take the exam in May. I'm going to take the exam in September. So help me God. So I was studying. Remember, I've been in hospital for 2 months. So I only have 1 month to study for the exam. And I was having headache. I couldn't concentrate. I was saying, please God, let what I have been learning for the last 5 years come to my memory, because I don't know what to do. I called the nurse and I said, the headache has not gone. It's actually even worse. Oh, Gospel, come back in. Imagine having headache and then trying to navigate your way into London. I don't know how I did it, but immediately I got admitted again. 4 weeks to my main exam in hospital. I couldn't believe it. I just could not believe it. More tests than a specialist. Not that I didn't see a specialist before, but this person apparently is more experienced. I'm thinking to myself, why didn't you tell him? Anyway, that's a different story. So he came, he asked me all the questions, looked at my notes, and then said, Gospel, I think you have a migraine. I said, excuse you? Yeah, I think you have a migraine. I said, how? Wow. I thought it's headache. Yeah, because of all the strong pain medication that you've been on, you now have medication overuse, headache, secondary stage of a migraine. And I said, but what about all those attacks that I've been having when I was younger? I wasn't taking any pain medication or anything like that. I didn't take any pain medication when I was in the meeting for the Olympics. Even when I started my very first job in Hertfordshire, in Hampshire, and I couldn't concentrate. I wasn't taking any pain medication. Because I didn't have any crisis pain. So how? Say, it's like you've suffered with migraine all those years. I was 35 years old when I finally got a diagnosis that I have been living with migraine plus being born with sickle cell disease. I think maybe I did not. Anyway, everybody knows that I don't want to have any other diagnosis at all. So when people try to diagnose me with something, I just say, it's not me. No, I already have sickle cell disease. This is enough. Any other thing is, I don't want to know. So he finally said, well, that's what you've got. And he gave me a treatment for it. And within an hour, the headache stopped. The attack just completely. Phew. Knowing that information, being aware of that, changed my life. And that is why I developed the AAA system and all the system that I now implement. Because I implemented them in my life. and I'm sharing that with you. I became aware of what I had, and I've not had migraine attack for 10 years. This year is 10 years. I've not had not one, not even. And when I was younger, I was also having what I now know as abdominal migraine. Oh my word. When I was younger, it was just all the things. When you know what you're dealing with, you can get yourself a plan. And that's why I now started taking action. I got myself into a plan. They started implementing, making loads of changes in my life. And not that I was not a healthy girl before this. I was. I don't eat wheat, gluten, or dairy. I have not done that since I was 10 years old. When the smell of milk just triggers, smell of all these things. Oh, there was a time I did not even eat peanuts or oranges because the smell of it, it was all linked to when I was younger and dealing with all these things. Now I know how to treat myself. Now I know how to take care of myself. Become aware, start taking action, and hold myself accountable. There are days that I'll be like, that KFC is actually calling my name. That KFC has my name on it because KFC is my kryptonite. Is what I always say. It's my kryptonite. I have gone into hospital because of KFC. True. I have gone into hospital because of eating takeaway. And that's because I was just like, I've gone into a moment when I'm like, why is it always me? Why do I always have to be careful with everything? And other people, they'll just, and they're fine. And I'm going to get myself a KFC. I'm going to get myself a this. And then and who is the one in hospital? They say, moi, I'm the one in hospital. Nobody comes to visit you. Because FYI, I don't like people seeing me when I'm ill. No, why? What are you coming to tell me for? What are you coming to see me? I say all this to say that following the AAA pathway to relief will really do wonders for you. It all starts with you becoming aware of your situation express, taking action. One small action is enough. And you don't need anybody to hold you accountable. Once you have a good team in place, you become self-accountable to yourself. Say, okay, have I spoken to my coach? Am I doing all the things? Am I eating right? You choose what you put in your body. You choose what you drink. You choose who you hang around with. You don't need toxic express people. No. You don't need anybody that will come with their negativity in your life because you've dealt with a lot. So everybody should just mind their own business. You get to choose the right people to hang out with. You get to use discernment to know who is telling you the truth and who is telling you a whole boatload of toxic rubbish. You don't have to do jack. You get to choose what you want to do. Listening to this is one step in your action plan, learning and gaining knowledge. How do you start the AAA pathway to relief? You become aware. You recognize mistakes that you've made. No shame, no blame. Just become aware. You take action, taking one small step, not 5,678 steps. Absolutely not. Just one small step. That's all you need. It could be that you're tracking your symptoms, you're adjusting your routine, you're reaching out for support. One action that I took is everybody knows, don't even think about calling gospel after 7. Why? What were you calling me for? I don't. So my phone is set at, I don't take any calls once it's 7. You're on your own. There are certain people that can get through past 7, but half the time I'm already in bed. Yes, I sleep that early. So the third one is accountability. You find a way to keep yourself consistent. Could be through journaling, could be being part of a support group or a coaching group. You find a way. This is how you break the cycle. This is how you move from shut down to shining. So my question to you is, which A do you need the most? Is it awareness? Is it taking action? Or is it accountability? Drop your answers in the comment section or send me a message. I encourage you and I invite you to take the quiz. Is it a headache or a migraine? Because that's your first step to becoming aware and starting your journey to full migraine relief, full pain relief. You get to know which is it. Remember, relief isn't random. It's built on one choice at a time. I'm wishing you ongoing success. You take care, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.